Hey, it's Pokaie. So today I want to go ahead and talk about a few maps that I would like to see and not see return to Splatoon 3. I went ahead and made a little tier list video, and I didn't grab all the maps that aren't in Splatoon 3. I instead grabbed a handful of maps in case you guys end up enjoying this video and want me to do more. Only picked about 10 maps to pick from this time around. What I'm gonna go ahead and do is rank 10 Splatoon 1 and 2 maps based on the criteria of yes, I want them in the game, no, I will not like them in the game, or needs a redesign. Let's go ahead and get started. So at the very start, we have Black Belly Skate Park. Now let's talk about Splatoon 2's Black Belly Skate Park, since that already had the redesign attached to it. I think Black Belly was pretty fun. I think overall it was pretty fun. I do think it needs a smaller redesign due to the way we now spawn in Splatoon 3. But I think the way that they would kind of fix it is by shifting over the spawn area to the right just a little bit more, because it felt like it was too far to the left, you know, in Splatoon 2. Maybe that could just be me misremembering things, but I felt like at times the spawn for Splatoon 2 is too far to the left. You know, if they kind of centered a little bit more, I think it'll be okay. But, you know, I would love to have Black Belly Skate Park in the game. It was such a fun map to just, you know, slay off of and just play around in. It was so fun. I loved it. But yeah, I mean, I would definitely say this map would definitely need to return to the game. It would be such a fun addition to the game. Next up, we have Bluefin Depot. Now, this map has been widely requested by not only me, but a bunch of other people in the Splatoon community. And honestly, I think it could work, but simply porting over the Splatoon 1 version into the current state of the game, I don't think it'll work. I think the spawn, you know, is way too small for what the current game is currently trying to do. And the whole great section could be slimmed down, I feel like. So for me personally, while I do think it should be in the game, it definitely needs a heavy redesign. Next up though, we have Gobi Arena. Now, Gobi Arena came out in a time for me in Splatoon 2 where I was kind of just away from the game. But when I ended up playing on it, it was a really fun map. I had a lot of fun on this map, and while at times it can be kind of difficult to play off of, it can be hard to get spawn camped in. So honestly, I would say Nintendo just port over the base Splatoon 2 map. It was really good. And all you really need to do is, because since the spawn is already so open, just have us launch in already. You know, you don't just take away the base spawn, and there you go. But yeah, no, Gobi Arena, pretty balanced map, and I definitely want it in the game. However, I can't say the same though for Kelp Dome. Now, Kelp Dome is a Splatoon 1 map that ended up returning in 2 that I think got a redesign, or at least some form of port. Yeah, was it redesigned? I don't remember, but it was ported to Splatoon 2. I'll admit, I hate Kelp Dome. I don't think it's a very fun map. The map in Splatoon 2 was heavily dominated by weapons like the Hydra, the Nautilus, the Ballpoint, literally any Splatling that could shoot across the map. Not to mention A-leaders could also be a problem in this map too, considering the current, you know, state of the game right now for Splatoon 3. So at the moment, I feel like while Kelp Dome could heavily benefit from redesign, if they end up redesigning Kelp Dome for Splatoon 3, it could completely change the map entirely to the point where it warrants just creating a new map entirely. You know, like, you just don't bring this map into the game. It was just so unfun and uncomfortable, and oh, I hated it. I hated playing Splat Zones on it specifically. I feel like Splat Zones was like the worst for this mode. That and Clan Blitz. However, another map that I also feel like is pretty controversial in the community is Moray Towers. And Moray Towers is a bit of a mixed bag. I will say it's similar to Kelp Dome, at least more of a mixed bag really. Because some people enjoy it, you know, some people enjoy it and it's a really fun map for them. While others, like myself, found it to be a very difficult map to play on because E-leaders, especially now in Splatoon 3, could and did dominate this map. E-leaders were everywhere running rampant around this map, and while it was fun as a Charger player to play in this map, I can't say the same for people like me who primarily play shooters and blasters and, you know, rollers, that it was a fun experience. You know, it just was not fun. And I think this map could benefit from a redesign. I do think that the map itself is too high up. The fact that they gave us like, what, 4 stories to work with, it just really isn't good, you know, because no one uses the first 2, I guess. So I feel like if they just remove like the first 2 areas and then just kind of lower the map essentially and have the spawn kind of like be elongated, that way, you know, that way it still takes time to get to that little choke point on the right side where that little platform is, so you have to like climb up. If you played Moray Towers, you know what I'm talking about. But on the right side of your spawn, there's like a section, like a little choke point essentially, where you can climb up and you can get an advantage in the enemy team, or you can get a disadvantage held against you. Either way, you probably know what I'm talking about if you've played the map or at least seen it. But I feel like just redesigning the map in general could be beneficial to the game. As well, the map, yes, would still be very e-leader heavy. Just expanding the map in general, making it wider, making the pathways less narrow and constrained will definitely help the game. Next up though, we have Muscle Forge. Now, I will admit, I've always been a fan of Muscle Forge. Muscle Forge to me has been always such an amazing map, but I will admit that with the current spawn camping issue that was prevalent in Splatoon 2, specifically on this map, I feel like it could get accentuated a lot more in 3. So for me, I would say they'd have to redesign the map, at least redesign the spawn point a little bit, redesign it a little bit better, and also possibly create other angles to get to the middle that won't get directly controlled by weapons like Hydra or E-Leader, pretty much any backliner essentially, because this map I benefited heavily by using a V-Jet. It was really fun, and while V-Jet was broken, I feel like it could still be very dominant if put in Splatoon 3. But for me personally, I would say port it to the game, but needs a just small redesign. However, Piranha Pit though, really good. Now Piranha Pit I think did end up getting a redesign when porting over to 2, I think, just by a little bit. Not quite sure if I'm wrong for that, but Splatoon 2's Piranha Pit was really fun. I absolutely loved that map. I think it was really cool. And while yeah, the edges where you're kind of like, it's kind of used essentially where you get that long, kind of small area on either side of the map is kind of annoying and useless for turf war essentially. I think the map, just simply them porting it over, would be really fun. I do want to see Piranha Pit back in the game because it was such a fun map to play on. But yeah, no, I'm definitely going to put this one in the yes tier. Just port it, Nintendo, it'd be so easy and simple. However, port Mackerel, because here's the thing, right? In Splatoon 2, I really enjoyed port Mackerel. It was such a fun map, especially with Junior, because I could throw bombs everywhere. It was such a fun map, but I feel like with the current state of the game, and just from what I've heard a lot of my community say, port Mackerel wasn't really a fun map. A lot of people didn't end up having fun in it the same way I did, which is a bit of a shame to hear, but I feel like if they could just simply redesign it a little bit more to be like have larger areas to go work with and just kind of like not have the center be cluttered with boxes, you know, just not have the entire map be an entire choke point, you know. I feel like that could work, but it might heavily detract from the actual map itself. So while I do want it in 3, I don't know if it actually worked as well. So for me though, I would say redesign, but you know, it's kind of like an eh for no. Now, one map that I would love to have back in the game is Salt Spray Rig. I absolutely love this map. Now, yes, is it because of the nostalgia? Yes, it is because of nostalgia, because I love this map so much. But I know a lot of people, similar to Skipper Pavilion in the second game, hate this map. And I feel like a large reason a lot of people don't end up liking the parallel maps in Splatoon, or is it parallel? I don't know how you would say it. Really, like the maps that are kind of mirrored, essentially. A lot of reason people don't like these type of maps in Splatoon is because you always end up with a section of the map that is controlled by one team or isn't controlled at all. Salt Spray Rig, for example, like the team, you wouldn't really fight over that bottom section of the map because there's really no need for it. And if you had control over that place, there was no need for it, like I said. But it was so easy to lose control on both these maps. Very easy to lose control on both these maps because the spawn had you travel so far just to get to where you need to go. So I feel like mirrored maps in Splatoon are kind of like meh. While I do think that it would be fun to have Salt Spray Rig return as a salmon run map, considering where it's located, I gotta say that given the current state of Splatoon, I don't think it'd be very fun to play on. And while a redesign could benefit, I don't know if a redesign could help this map be as good as it could be for the game. But for me though, it's gonna have to be put in no, unfortunately. All right, so for our final map, we have Schellendorf Museum. Now, I actually kind of like this map. I didn't like it at first because I wasn't a big fan of like the 2-layer map, but I think nowadays I kind of do enjoy it. It does get heavily dominated by weapons like Hydra and E-Leader, like I said, like other maps in the course in the game, but I feel like that's easily countered by people who just swim. Because in the second game, if you just kind of swim up to your enemy while on top, they almost didn't notice you for some reason, which is really weird because I'd always catch them, but other people who would use E-Leaders and stuff wouldn't really, which is kind of weird. But I mean, just overall though, I feel like Schellendorf could work. It might need a bit of a redesign though, I will say, towards the middle section and potentially spawn as well to make it less spawn campy. But I think overall it could work in the game. I definitely would like to see this in the game, but I'll have to put in redesign. But yep, no, we've come to the end of the video. Let me know what you guys think. If you guys do want me to make a part 2 to this type of video, please let me know in the comments below. I will be sure to read them. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Let me know of any maps you guys like to see in Splatoon 3. Let me know which maps you guys think would be terrible for the franchise. And yeah, hope you guys did enjoy, and I will see you guys later. Bye.